Hello, train my traffic people, I guess is the best way to say it. Molly here. Happy Wednesday, May 29th. I also have Mr. John Grimshaw with me. How's it going, John?
It is going amazing, Molly. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. John and I are finally recovered from the boot camp we had last week in Denver, which was a ton of fun. I'm in Lake Tahoe right now, which is beautiful. I've never been here before. And yeah, excited to do some critiques, answer some questions. So, John and I hadn't realized that Monday, 2 days ago, was Memorial Day when we were doing this scheduling, and we noticed that registration was super low for the call. So what we did, we moved, well, we've got this call today, so just normal Q&A. We've got lots of questions in the group to go over. And then Monday, we have a call at our regular time, and that will be our last one. That will be the grand finale. And what we're going to do for that call, I'll actually put a question in the Facebook group about, what is the one thing holding you back with paid traffic right now? And we will use next Monday's call to remove any blocks that you guys have so that you continue succeeding with paid traffic and everything that you've learned over the last few months. So as always, thanks for spending your time. We still have a bunch of people on the call today, even though the course is almost over. It's been such a blast getting to know you guys, and I just want you to know how much we appreciate you guys spending your time with us. So I think we'll get started. John, any housekeeping stuff from your end?
Yes, one thing I wanted to mention um, is that we are wrapping up, and then we'll kind of be going dark on Train My Traffic Person until this August. But we would love to hear what your experience has been, and we want to incentivize you to do that. So
Ooh,
what we're going to do is,
incentives.
yeah, Uh, what we really would like to help us with our launch in August is some video testimonials where you guys tell us, what did you like about Train My Traffic Person? What was, great about it? What could we improve for next time? All that kind of stuff. And so what we're going to do is if you guys will all do your best to submit some video testimonials, if you had a great experience and want to tell us about it, we're going to take the top three testimonials and give each of them an hour of Molly's time blocked off for some very specific one-on-one consulting. So it's the
Whoa.
ultimate win-win situation. They give us a video testimonial, and you guys buy an hour of Molly's time. And an hour of Molly's time is really awesome to like get her to help you work through blocks really detailed in your business, look at the traffic system, look in your ad account, whatever it is. So
I love it. So if you guys didn't hear John, John, will we be emailing out a link where people can submit their testimonials?
that is a great idea. You know what? I do think we'll do that.
Okay, great. So
So I
we'll
will make
email.
sure we get a link sent out to you guys tomorrow.
Cool. So we will email a link where you guys can submit the testimonials. And yeah, the top three, the best testimonials, will get a one-on-one hour call with me, which will be fun to connect with you guys. Okay, cool. Let us know if you guys have any questions. Lots of sad faces about the class ending. I'm sad too. Tilla said this is priceless. Cool. So if you guys have had a good experience or any other feedback that you want to give us, it doesn't have to be all positive. As you guys know, this is the second round of Train My Traffic Person, and it was dramatically different this time around based off of the feedback of the first group of students. And so we will have another group of students starting in August, and the more feedback you guys give us, the better that we can do next time. And the top three videos will get an hour call with me, which should be really fun. So, okay, sounds great, John. So we'll send an email out about that tomorrow and also post in the group. Anything else, John?
Yes, one other thing that just occurred to me. So you guys know we're wrapping up, but with Train My Traffic Person, you get a month trial of Team Traffic. So nothing is going to happen on that this week, but next week I will give you guys all the information, share with you the link to the Facebook group so that you can join it, and kind of let you know how to get started with it. You're definitely going to want to take full advantage of that. It's super awesome. And you guys will have that trial membership until July. Sorry, I'm looking at my calendar right here. Until July 8th. So you should hop
That's
in, try to
awesome.
get everything you can out of it over the next month. And if you guys like it and want to stick around, great. And if not, then you got a free month of a really awesome program that will kind of help you reach the next level. So just keep an eye out. We'll talk about it on next Monday's call as well.
All right, sounds great.
But that's all I got. So if you want to get to the questions, I promise I'll stop chattering about housekeeping stuff.
Attila said, what do you recommend for us as a next step? Definitely team traffic. So that's really a big reason we built team traffic, was to be an ongoing membership, especially for people as they come out of Train My Traffic Person. So, all righty, let's show the screen here. So we've got 2 critiques that came in through the forum, and then we've got a bunch of questions in the group. Sean Patrick Simpson shot off like 10, so I'm gonna try to answer as many as I can. Okay, so this first one came from Catalin. And it looks like we've got some pre-sale articles to check out. And this is the snorkeling company that we had a chance to go through their avatars and some ad copy last week, if you guys remember. So now we're going to take a quick glance um, at at the pre-sale articles. So you're currently browsing. Okay, this because I'm in the US. All right, so the 5 best fish species to see in the Great Barrier Reef. I think this is great. At first, I didn't know what this was going to be about necessarily, but I just went to the Barrier Reef and I didn't do any snorkeling. But if I was going to, and even though I didn't, I was very interested in the different fish species. The only maybe tweak I would make to this would be to maybe like the 5 best fish species to see while snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef, so that it's not just the best fish, but it's also like maybe the most colorful, the most interesting from a snorkeler standpoint, maybe fish that are you're most likely to see when snorkeling the barrier reef. So that's a slight little tweak that I would make. But otherwise, I really like this one. And then it looks like you already went ahead and made a call to action here. I would remove this. You don't want to go ahead and start selling right in the beginning. Definitely go back to module 1 when Ezra was going over, or I'm sorry, module 2, when Ezra was going over his pre-sale article formula, because he doesn't make a call to action that early, if I'm remembering correctly. Whoa, that's a cool fish. These images seem very large. And it looks like you're throwing in a call to action very frequently, which I don't know, it might be fine here, but it just seems like a lot. I would definitely reduce the size of these images. Sharks, that's crazy. And then I like having this here. You definitely need some sort of transition quote or image. So, from the giant cod into the snorkels, this transition here is a bit awkward to me, and it doesn't really make sense. Otherwise, I do like this. The 5 best islands in the world for snorkeling on a budget. I love this too. Really great hook. Same feedback. Reduce your image size, and that you need it. There's a lot of work you got to do here on this transition. Go back to the module that we did with Ezra that covers pre-sale articles, and also Lindsay's bonus call that we did. The 5 things to look out for when snorkeling. I would change this like something to the effect of like the 5 things to look out for that you might miss, when snorkeling. So that way it's not so broad. And maybe there's a curiosity here of, even though I've snorkeled before, what are some things in the ocean that I might be missing just because I haven't, really been looking for them, I guess, would be a way to position it. And then same feedback on these, but great hooks there. Really great job. I just think the formatting and the transitions need a little bit of work there. But thank you so much for submitting that. And then it looks like Alex, so we talked about Adzula last time, but this is for a client called One Step Checkout. And Alex says, I feel like I've hit a brick wall with interest targeting for this client. If you have time to give feedback on avatar and ad copy, great, but targeting is where I'm stuck. They have a software product for Magento stores only. That's tough. Info about one-step checkout is in the first link below. The traffic plan is in the second link. So I'm definitely happy to look at the targeting, Alex. Something to keep in mind, though, is this is going to be a really tough company to ever really scale because their product is built on the back of another product, Magento. Like if you said this was just for e-commerce stores, great. We would be able to reach them in a much, more scalable way on Facebook. I'm moving over to the fire right now. It's really cold here. Sorry if you guys hear me heavy breathing. But for this, like I was in an event 2 weeks ago in Miami, and a student that I was working with, he sells a product that's a steam basket that goes in instant pots. Like that's so specific. It's, he's doing well on Amazon and doing well with Google Ads, but it's just going to be very hard to get this to ever scale on Facebook because it's for such a specific size. Like I wonder how many customers Magento even has. Um,
I mean, it's like a relatively big company,
Yeah,
so
it's 300,000, but that's still a really small group of people. So I'm not trying to deter you from Facebook, but it's just something to keep in mind. So let's look through here. So Magento is 885,000. That's good. A lot of these I think are different tools for e-commerce. National Retail Federation. You could look at this too. Like, I think you've hit the nail on the head with a lot of these. I think you could even broaden out to, I'm sure there's an interest that's just e-commerce. I'm not sure if you're targeting Shopify, but you could look at this as you're really promoting this product that is your clients. I forget what it's called again, one step checkout. And maybe people are willing to even transition to Magento to use it. I know that's kind of far-fetched, but we've had plenty of students who have moved to Shopify just because they want to use Zipify, right? They want to use Ezra's software. So that could be another way to think about this. You could go a bit broader than you think on the targeting to just e-commerce or even to Shopify. But Alex, I think you've gone deep here, and I don't think the issue here is necessarily you're having trouble with the interest targeting. I think this market, I think it's just a little bit confusing because the market's so small, right? It's like trying to reach welders or just a very specific group of people on the planet. So I honestly would. I think you're good to go here on this targeting. I think you could broaden out to Shopify, e-commerce, etc. If you tag me in the group too, I can dig up some interests that we're targeting with Zipify. I think we're mostly targeting like marketing influencers though, and just people in the digital marketing space in general. So that could be another way to think about this. You could even go the influencer route. But I kind of get why you're stuck here, and not that I don't think it can work, but just keep in mind that your market's going to be pretty small. And obviously, Magento is your best interest to target. So, all right, John, I'm going to hop into the group now. Anything coming in through the questions box or anything I should be aware
Uh,
of?
no big questions. Kate was just pointing out that Shopify, WooCommerce, and BigCommerce were all good options. And her personal 2 cents were, as an e-commerce brand, Magento was not the easiest thing to work with. So just something to
Yeah,
keep in mind. But those three interests may be a good opportunity to explore: Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce.
yeah, absolutely. Cool. Anything else, John?
No real questions. Salvador asked for a link to a Snapchat training, the one that we did in Team Traffic, and I just got that from Heather, so I'm going to share it with you in the chat, Salvador, but I'm also going to drop it in the Team Traffic group. And then Alex said it's great to get a sense check. So yeah,
Great.
I think we're good. So you're ready to roll through the group whenever you find the first question
Yeah.
you want to do.
So Kitty was having trouble logging on. Hope you made it, Kitty. Jay said, wanted to let you know I posted on Monday. Alrighty, we'll try to get to that. Sean says, I apologize for the volume of questions. Okay, so Sean bumped up all of these, so they're hanging here at the top. So I'll answer a few and then come back if we have time because I want to get to other people's questions too. John,
Real
this is
quick,
probably,
Molly, do you need me to
yeah,
go through and curate questions? Like, so run
no,
through and see.
I think I got it.
Okay, so
I
you're
think
just
I
going to be able
got
to
it.
run
I
through
went through them
chronologically.
before.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been ages since I set anything up for custom conversions. I have these set up in Google Tag Manager for a lead and a purchase, and I'm trying to remember if I need to do anything on Facebook with the content name. Do you know the answer to this, Sean?
Um, I cannot read that. So skip that one. I'll answer that one in there
Okay.
because like anything like that, it's not good conversation. It's
Yeah,
technical and
totally.
weird. So I'll reply to Sean.
Okay. Here's a chart I put together based on Molly's slides. Visualizing like this helps me. Maybe it will help you too. Imagine that in the testing phase, we are optimizing for conversions. You suggested that if we have the budget for it, to run an engagement campaign first to build up social proof. If you were to do that, would you set up the engagement campaign as described in the testing column and then just mirror it when duplicating to a conversion campaign? Yes. Or would you keep it more, or would you keep it more simple? One campaign, 6 ad sets with a single ad in each, all running towards warm traffic for a couple of days to quickly gain social proof, and then taking those 6 ads to place into the testing phase. Unless some ads were bombing, I'd be hesitant to make a call on the value of the ads when optimized for engagement. Yeah, Sean, I think you're overthinking this a little bit. You lost me, but there's nothing wrong with running a campaign first for engagement. You can kind of set that up however you want to, just because the goal is to get engagement. So if you want engagement, you could use CBO or you could use testing and optimize for engagement just to get some more traction on those ads. Or you could just skip that part, which is what I usually do, and set up the campaign how you would like to set up the campaign, like based off of what you need to do for your business, if you're optimizing for purchases or leads, etc. And then, of course, the generation of the social proof will just be, a part of that process. So I don't know. Does that make sense, Sean?
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. It's not a bad way to think about it, but it is it's going deep.
Yeah, it's just kind of however you want to do it. So that's really
Yeah.
up to you. All right, Connor said, Molly, I think I remember you said you use traffic campaigns for messenger ads. Do you use a mini chat ref URL or are you still using JSON? How do you set that up? Yeah, you cannot use a ref URL in a Facebook ad. They would actually not allow you to do that. And so I definitely use JSON. Um, and how do you set that up? It's super easy. Just go to the growth tool, go to the JSON area of the growth tool, hover over the question box. There should be a video there that shows you how to set it up. You're basically just taking code from the growth tool and putting it inside of Ads Manager. Is there any way to maintain social proof when running messenger ads? Right now I'm using the click to messenger ad. I can't grab the post ID to aggregate social proof. Hey John, we've got a video in Team Traffic of Boris doing this. He posted it in the Facebook group a few months ago. Would you mind to grab that for Connor? Because
Yeah,
he
I'll see if
figured
I can
out
find
how
that.
to do that.
Okay.
And also, you don't have to use JSON, guys. You could simply just set up some quick replies upon your welcome message that when someone clicks through, they then click the button and they also become a subscriber. So if you're having trouble with JSON with the traffic campaign, because Facebook changed something, you don't even have to use JSON and you can still send traffic directly into ads manager, or I'm sorry, into ads manager, traffic directly to Messenger from your ad. So good question here. Okay, Sean, in what order would you suggest someone, so it looks like this is for as, um, uh, in what order would you suggest someone new to Shopify invest and go through all of your shop? Yeah, I can't answer this. Okay, comparing an info product business to an e-commerce business, e-commerce business. Um, I wrote a follow-up question for you on this Q&A with you in the first comment below. Um, okay, this is a lot. I'm gonna have to come back to this. We've got, yeah, Russ is not on this Q&A. Critique avatars, avatar Q&A. Okay, I'm gonna come back to these. All right, James says, e-com question here. We're running video ads to a long form sales page, marketing a product that has gotten a lot of attention already. Campaign is CBO at $50 a day with 12 ad sets. So really quick, I'm not sure how much you usually pay to acquire a customer, James, but $50 a day seems like a really low budget if you're running a purchase campaign. So I definitely would try to make sure that your budget is at least double, if not triple, or up to 10x more daily than what you expect your cost per acquisition of a customer to be, or it's going to be hard for Facebook to have enough budget to get you traction, right? And it looks like Yed brought this up here too. Also, when you're using CBO, you definitely don't want to have more than 5 ad sets. So you want to have 5 ad sets. You said ad sets are optimized for view content. So I don't know why you would necessarily optimize for view content. 11 add to carts, 4 checkouts initiated, and 0 purchases. CPMs are 7 to 8, which is good. Your click-through rates are high. Should we change ad sets to add to cart or do a new CBO campaign? What do you recommend? So I actually would recommend optimizing for purchase. Set your budget at 150 or 200 bucks a day. Decrease your number of ad sets to about 5. I'm not sure. Okay, yeah. Decrease your ad sets to about 5. And I would take your winning ads from what you've already done, James, and decrease the number of ads in each ad set down to about 2 or 3 ads in each ad set. So that's what I would do. Answer this on today's call. There you go. John, anything coming in there?
Yep, I have 2 questions for you.
Alrighty.
So, Aiden said, if I have multiple pre-sales, is it better to have them in separate CBO campaigns, or is it okay to have ads running to different landing pages in the same CBO campaign?
Good question. I would definitely put them in separate campaigns because people are just going to behave differently on those pre-sale articles. So the optimization is going to be different, and you don't want to confuse Facebook.
Is that true in a general sense? So if you're pointing at different destinations, should you, as kind of a rule of thumb, just make sure you put those in different campaigns with CBO?
Yes, absolutely. Anytime you're going to different URLs or anytime you're even using different avatars, Sean, like, if I want to target moms and then dads, I would separate those out into separate campaigns.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense. So anything with for same avatar but different ad sets, put it on the same thing. But when you start to kind of diverge a little bit, it's better to split it out.
Yeah, like different pre-sale
Awesome.
articles, different offers in general, definitely split those out.
And I guess the one exception would be the DPA, since that's like you're pointing to a bunch of different endpoints, but it's
Of
way more
course.
about
Of course.
the algorithm
And
doing the
Facebook's
optimization
automating
based on
that.
who's seeing what. So, yep,
Absolutely.
awesome. Our other question is from Jason, who said, I've got a question about reach and frequency. So if frequency is more than one, does that mean my reach has been met? For example, I have a reach of roughly 4,500 with a frequency of 1.19. Does increasing my budget, oh, here's the core of it. Okay, so does increasing my budget increase the reach or just the frequency?
Well, it's kind of both. So, budget and reach and frequency are sort of all like they all work off of one another, right? So, say you've reached 4,500 people and the frequency is 1.19, that means that on average, everyone that's seen your ad has seen it 1.19 times, is what frequency means. So, if you increase the budget without increasing the audience size, over time, the frequency is definitely going to increase because frequency is really, it's really a function of your budget and your audience size. So again, if the audience size doesn't increase, but you keep spending money, right? So whether it's just time passes and you spend more every day, or whether you increase the budget to spend faster, your frequency is automatically going to increase because you are further saturating that audience that you're targeting.
Makes
That
sense.
makes
And
sense.
then you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, but I assume if it's like a retargeting audience where there's a pretty hard cap on how big it is, increasing the budget there won't really increase reach, but it will dramatically increase frequency, right?
Totally. Yeah. It's like I talked about in the retargeting module, there's really no scaling of a retargeting campaign. Like it might,
Yeah.
like the audience size might increase because you're running more cold traffic or you started getting more organic traffic, or for some reason you've got more people to retarget. And so therefore you might need to increase the budget a little bit just to meet those audience sizes. And I gave some guidelines for daily budgets based off of your audience size. But yeah, it's exactly right, John. Like with a retargeting campaign, your job is to just kind of reach as many people as you can, but you want to make sure that you're not constantly increasing your budget or you're just going to oversaturate the retargeting audiences that you have.
Cool. And then Aiden asked a question that I think is more for me, but I'll just answer it real quick if that's cool with you, Molly.
Of course.
Cool. So he said, I feel like my bounce rates on my pre-sales are really high. I have three running. One has a 50% bounce rate, one has a 65% bounce rate, and one is 75%. So what should my goal be? And so I need a little bit more information to answer it, but I can give you a good rule of thumb. So bounce rate is basically telling you what percentage of people visit your page, do nothing, and then leave, right? So if people go to your page and they don't click any links and they don't go to any more pages and they leave, that's a bounce. But if you have things like video on your page, uh, you don't necessarily know if they're watching the video or not if you don't have events set up. So I would say if someone goes to your page, watches the video, and leaves, I wouldn't call that a bounce, right? Because they engaged, they interacted, they watched some of your content. And so it kind of depends on how you have your site set up. If you're tracking events for people spending a certain amount of time on the page, or events for people playing videos or scrolling more than 50% of the way through the page, tracking those events, your bounce rate should be probably, as kind of a good rule of thumb, like below 30 would be my goal. If you're not tracking any of those events, so you're not tracking video, scroll, or time on page as an event, and I'm specifically using the event with a capital E, right? How Google Analytics uses those. Then if your bounce rate is below 75, it's not terrible. Obviously the less people bounce, the more likely they are to buy and do all that other stuff. But sometimes the page itself, right, is the thing doing the job. So with a pre-sale article, they're not necessarily ready to buy. They're learning about your brand, who your business is, all that. So if they go and read the entire pre-sale and don't buy anything, it still is not, it's not a loss, right? It's still a victory because they consumed all your content. So I think shoot for 75% or less on your bounce rate until you get all those events set up, and then you want to shoot for about 30% or less.
Bam.
So that's what I got in the group. I think there was one more. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, Sorry. Oh, okay. Would you recommend adding a new ad to an ad set that's fatiguing, or just creating a new ad set and shutting down the old one?
If your budgets are at the ad set level, I would just create a new ad set and add that ad in. But if your budgets are at the campaign level and you're using CBO, then you can just go ahead and add the ad into that ad set, no problem.
Oh, okay. So you can add ads to an ad set without screwing up the CBO optimization?
Yeah, you don't want to add new ad sets to a CBO campaign at any time. It always tanks things. But you can actually add ads into ad sets at CBO to keep things fresh. And Facebook seems to like it and it really helps. It's really helping with Boom right now. But it's interesting when the
Cool.
budget's at the ad set level and you add in a new ad, it seems to make things wonky. So I always just duplicate and restart. So many
Got
nuances.
it. Yeah, hot is cold and cold is hot. They
Totally.
have two very different tools that work towards the same end now.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So that's everything we've got in the question box now. So you can jump
Cool.
back into the Facebook groups, and I'll let a few
Okay.
more build up before I come back to you.
Okay, Steph had a great tip. This happens to me all the time. She said, keep track of your interests on Facebook. The same interests that existed maybe a month or two ago may not be there now. I had to get creative and find related interest. And the same thing goes the other way. There might be new interests. Like, I think they're adding new interests in here like every day, guys. So I go back and do my interest targeting every few months just to see if something new comes up. And this is fun for my clients, especially where we do launches, because I'll go back and do more research and realize that, John, I think I hit you up a few weeks ago. I was like, look at these 30 new keto interests that didn't exist a few months ago. So they do take them away, which can be sad sometimes, but they also do add them. So keep in mind that interests are a revolving door, and we want to consistently be paying attention to that. So really great tip,
I
Steph.
have a
And
question about that for you.
yes, yes.
So let's say I have an audience that has interests of, I love keto and running, and keto makes me happy, right? Right? Those are the two interests. And I've created an ad set that's targeting those, and they take those interests away from the um, searchable place. They stay in my ad set, right?
Yep. Oh, so
So you
what
don't lose them
happens,
once you've created
John?
the audience.
Well, you will, like, I think it's a red box or something pops up that says, like, we are or we have removed this interest. So sometimes they will remove interest, and if so, it will essentially just like turn that ad set off. But they will give you a warning in the ad set at the ad set level to show you that. Does that make sense? To tell you that it's happening. So,
Hmm.
like, for example, with the
Okay.
Christian client that we have, every so often they will remove some interests. And so I'll just need to, turn that ad set off or not use that one moving forward.
Okay, that makes sense. And let's one other question then. So, you make these avatar documents where you have, I don't know, 200 interests, and you go through and you find maybe 100 of them in the tool. What
Right.
what do you think is the frequency that you should go back and check to see when new ones are available, right? Is that
Yeah,
something you do once a month, or
great
is that something you do
question.
once every 3 months? What do you think?
Yeah, I think once a quarter is good. If you're running a high volume of traffic and you find yourself running out of audiences a lot, then you obviously want to do it more frequently. But otherwise, I would just set aside a few hours every quarter to go back to that research document and see, because some of the things that you wrote down in the beginning during the research process that might not have shown up in Facebook, maybe they are an interest now. So I think that's wise to do at least once a quarter, John.
Cool. That's awesome. That's a great thing to put on your calendar, especially if you guys are trying to keep stuff fresh. So good little tip.
Awesome. So, hi, Kelly. She said, I revised my ad copy for this ad where I'm targeting new signups for my DIY beauty ebook from the past 7 days, but the click-through rate is low and the CPC is higher than I like. My CPC is around $6, and that's high, Kelly, but it's really normal for retargeting. Do you have any advice on how I can perform this ad's performance, or is this fairly typical for this type of ad? Yeah, that cost per click is actually pretty typical for a retargeting ad, Kelly. Let's pull it up. Now I'd love to give you a special offer. So yeah, it looks like you updated it based off of what we talked about last time. That looks good to me. You just need to keep in mind it is a retargeting ad, so it is everything is conditional um, based off of the audience that you're targeting, right? So if those people aren't qualified, it's going to make it tough. If those people aren't qualified, you're probably not going to get the retargeting results that you're looking for. But just a second as I find your post here. You had some more questions. Last week, you mentioned you like the idea of a webinar marketed to my email list and to cold audiences. How long should I promote the webinar before it actually occurs? Is a weekly webinar too frequent? And also, what webinar service do you prefer? So definitely go back to the trainings that we did with Russ Henneberry inside the course, because we talked a lot about webinars and how to run ads for webinars. I definitely wouldn't start out by doing them weekly. You want to pick one date and market it for about a week before. If that goes well, record it. If that goes well, you can evergreen it. So then it could run at all times. John, do you have a webinar service that you prefer? I get them all confused. There are so many different names.
Is
So
this for Evergreen?
so for evergreen and I guess standalone, because standalone, Kelly, when if you're going to pick, like, let's say you're going to do this webinar in 2 weeks, you could do it, have people sign up through GoToWebinar and just build your own landing page. But you need a real tool when you start to evergreen it, right, John?
Yes. Yeah, so it doesn't matter at all if it's a real webinar that happens on blah 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 date, and you schedule it and it's actually live and all that. You can use anything, just pick whatever fits your budget and the audience size you're expecting. For Evergreen, the kind of leading contender for me is EverWebinar. It has
Cool.
some tracking problems, which unsurprisingly is sort of my like, what the hell? But they've published a few posts from measurementmarketing.io that kind of talk about how to work around this, and it's the most flexible of the tools. Other good options would be Stealth Webinar, is what I would recommend. So I think EverWebinar is probably the right choice. It's what everybody's kind of using right now. Been tested. A lot of people are sold on it, and the tracking issues, like I said, if you check out Chris Mercer's site, he talks about how to get around them. So that's where I'd go.
Great. And Kelly, also check out Amy Porterfield has a lot of great information around webinars. She would be a great resource for you to dive deeper into this whole webinar marketing thing. You said, I was thinking of asking my email subscribers to take a brief survey so I better understand their interests. Do you like this idea? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. What survey service do you like to use? Survey Monkey is totally fine, Kelly. And there's nothing wrong with asking email subscribers to take a survey. Just don't expect if the response rate is low. You might need to incentivize people with like a discount code or a free product. When I was working with Panda Planner, we sent out a survey and we individually reached out to our customers that were highest lifetime value, and we offered them 3 free notebooks, and they took a survey where they answered the questions: what was life like before Panda Planner? What's it like after? If you were to refer this product to a friend, what would you say? That's what gave us a lot of the great ad copy that you guys have seen, and also the images. Yeah, SurveyMonkey is a great tool for that too. So let's go back into the queue here. Um, all right, so we'll see. Jay's got a post. The past couple months has been spent putting all assets in place to run my first webinar for Father's Day week. My question is about how to utilize all the metrics available on a regular basis. We can glean numbers from Google Analytics, Facebook Ad Manager, Kartra, Hotjar, Funnel Analytics. Does anyone have a system checklist they use to see what information is needed? And in what order do you get information from the above noted softwares? Just want to simplify the review metrics. We have 50 audiences between 500,000 and 3 million. Okay, so hold on, John, do you kind of have an answer to this, and then I can answer this bottom part?
Sure. Yeah. So what I do is, well, let me just caveat this by saying I like playing in Google Analytics way more than Facebook Ads Manager. So I usually look at Google Analytics 2 or 3 times a week for a campaign that's been running for a while, and every day for a new campaign that launches, and pull my data. Um, Facebook Ads Manager, kind of the same thing. I think looking at it once a week for a steady campaign is reasonable. Looking at it every day is good if it's a new thing you launched. And those are where I really focus my time. But when I'm trying to problem solve, right, so I notice that my CPA's gone up, or I notice that my conversion rate has gone down, that's when I'll dig in and start looking at things like Hotjar. I don't know Funnelytics, I'm guessing that's like the Russell Brunson extension. But kind of focusing more on trying to drill in and figure out where the problem is, right? So Google Analytics and Facebook Ads Manager are great, like high level check, do our metrics look good, like the metrics that I talk about in the training. And then when you see those metrics look bad, that's when you go deeper in Google Analytics or look in Hotjar and the other options to understand what might be the cause of that problem.
Awesome.
And
And
it's
Jay said,
once a day for new stuff, once a week for older stuff.
great. And then Jay said attached to the wrong message. So Jay, I think this is going to be attached to um, maybe another post that you have in here that we'll get to. So we'll put that in context. Okay, awesome. Okay, John has got you handled here, Jay. Also, the Snapchat training is here in the group. Good to go there. Kitty's been trying to register. Okay, we'll get back to these guys. Okay, Aiden. Hey Molly, I put together all my materials so it would be easier for you to access and review in this Google Doc. Thanks so much for your help. No problem. Um, your company is a healthier version of Nutella, which I just love. The product is a chocolate ghee spread. Below, I've broken out my funnel pages, audiences, current ads, and copy for new ads. Okay, so is there one thing we could look at, or there's a lot here. Let's see. So John kind of already chatted about these. If I were you, Aiden, and you're still having trouble with purchases, I would definitely try to go directly to product page versus a pre-sale. Pre-sale is kind of more for scale. And then you've got sales page. So I don't know the difference between product page and sales page. Okay. All right. So these just have more to them. So I would honestly just pick your best seller, whether it's chocolate peanut butter or dark chocolate, and send all of your traffic to one of them. These pages look great, Aiden. Like I would definitely buy this. Um, so I would send directly to one of these sales pages. Um, okay. Let's look at your audiences. So I want to look at your ads first, actually. Like, who are the avatars for this? Okay, so you're basically targeting one, keep eating chocolate, but stay within your healthy food constraints. Um, so it looks like you're targeting healthy eaters, healthy dessert option. Um, cool. Now you're speaking. These are great creatives. Then you've got some more copy. Okay, that gives me some context here. I still think I still am not completely sure on the avatars. I think obviously one is people that eat Nutella and want a healthier option. I think another one is your audience that's on keto, paleo, that's on these different diets that are wanting just a healthy chocolate option that is low sugar. I think if I'm understanding this correctly. Um, and so this looks, I think these are still a little bit too broad, like Sprouts Farmers Market or HelloFresh. Those are really big companies. Thrive Market might work. So again, I think I said this earlier, but I would first off change your strategy, Aiden. Leave the pre-sale articles aside for now. You can use those for scale later. But I would pick which of these is your best seller. Start sending directly to one of these sales pages and optimize for purchases. I just wanted to go ahead and say that. I don't know what whole nine is. These look a little bit better. Um, I think Weight Watchers might be a little bit broad. Back to Nature, non-GMO product. Blue Apron. So I'm not sure if this targeting is on Aiden. Like, I would definitely go more for right off the bat your paleo and keto audiences and get much more specific on these interests. I don't think you're reaching the core part of the market that it would be most avidly interested in this. So let me show you some examples from a launch we just did here. This is for my keto client. And so I think interests like, let me find the right ones here. And we're a bit broader. I wouldn't use those. We're able to go a bit broader now because we're definitely in scale mode. I think some of these Udi's gluten-free would be good for you. I wouldn't use the other ones there. Um, I wouldn't use these other than maybe Betty Rocker could be good. Um, I wouldn't use these guys either. Okay, so these like cyclic ketogenic diet, keto adapted, keto diet app, ketone bodies, ketosis, Atkins diet, paleo, everyday paleo, low carb, Julian bakery. I would use all of these. All of these paleo ones are very specific. Like these are people that are in it, that are really trying to stay away from sugar. I would do any sugar-free stuff that you can. I know yours probably isn't completely sugar-free, but that's okay. Some of these might be good for you too, like Bob's Natural Foods, some of these Clean Eating Magazine, Clean Eating Online. Um, I wouldn't use many of the others, but that should give you a head start. I think those interests are going to make a huge difference for you. I think that these are a bit too broad. And then I think we need some more specific hooks that aren't just about eating chocolate, but staying in your health food constraints. I think one hook is definitely that it's a healthy version of Nutella. So that's kind of the relevance ad copy hook that we talked about in the ad copy module. Most people know what Nutella is. You obviously want to target Nutella as an interest for that hook. But that's such a good way to explain this. You know, my company is a healthier version of Nutella, Nutella without all the sugar. I think that's your first hook. I think another one can be about eating chocolate and staying within your healthy food constraints. But I think that, since in these ads, you're going to be selling them more on the product than you are the pre-sale article, you have to go immediately into that this is much lower sugar, right? To pique their interest here. I think, let me look down. Again, I like this one for this ad creative for the ads that are relevant. Um, Having sugary desserts can often leave us with more sugar cravings and sugar hangovers. These cravings often come from not getting enough nutrients and not having, yeah, I like this, but I don't think you need to go to, like I said, you don't need to go to the tips. We need to go direct to product here. Um, I like this testimonial. I would definitely use this. Just remember they need to have the context of Nutella here. I really like this. One of the hardest things to cut out are the sweets we love, but again, go direct to Nutella. And I think this logic one here too is good around sugar. But Aiden, I guess my biggest feedback for you is we've got to change your traffic system here to go direct to sales page. I think we still need to get much more clear. You are definitely a product centric business if we go back to the targeting module. So we've got to get super clear on those avatars. We know that the paleo and the keto audiences are interested in this because it's low sugar. But I also think that something like moms could be a great avatar for you because this could be, a sweet snack for kids that doesn't have so much sugar in it. I think you could also go just the sugar free. You definitely don't want to go like full into like saying things about like diabetes, but I do think you could go the sugar free route from a sense of, like you said here, like the logic of how much sugar we're all eating. So maybe not people that are already doing paleo or keto and, they're just looking for things they can eat that don't have sugar, but people that do want that education or do need that education about being sugar free. I think that could be another avatar for you. But if I were you, that's what I would focus back on. Like, what are my 3 avatars that I want to test? And then go in and redo this targeting research for each of them and write some specific ads for each of them, because right now it feels kind of general. But I love what you're doing. I'm definitely going to get some of this because I love Nutella, and I'm always looking for healthier options. So I hope that's helpful for you. John, are we good to go? Any questions coming through the questions box?
Yes, we've had a couple. Yeah, a lot of people are saying I would love more chocolate without the sugar.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's
I think
definitely
we all
demand for
would,
this product.
unless you don't really like sugar, or chocolate, do you, John?
No,
Or did I
I like
make that
chocolate
up?
okay, but I
Okay, I was
really
gonna
serve
say
chocolate. I don't like.
totally.
I'm a purist, Molly. What can I say?
For some reason,
Um,
I didn't think you like chocolate. I was about to say everybody loves chocolate. And
no, come on,
another
come on.
route there is, ooh, Aiden, you could target all of the big chocolate brands, right? Like Hershey's and I don't know, just Google chocolate brands and basically run an ad about, getting chocolate without all the sugar. Ooh, hoo, hoo.
Woohoo. Um, Michael also just said you should plug in your computer, and I
Oh,
agree with
I'm
him.
paying attention. I'm paying attention.
Okay, okay.
But thank you.
Um, okay, so a couple of questions. Attila said, how would you target moms? Can you give me a few examples, please?
Yeah, totally. There are a ton of mom blogs that you can target. So let me show you just a few examples of how I targeted moms. But yeah, moms are, there are tons of brands of clothes and blogs, websites, books. Moms are,
Is that an audience you need to niche down more, right? It's saying just I want to target moms too generic and you need to get more specific, or you think it's okay to just say moms?
yeah, I mean, you'll see here that I targeted like working moms, for example, and split that out. I think that can be helpful sometimes. You can see here that I targeted, proud single mother, working mother magazine, working mom. These were all based off of research. Being mommy, mommy needs vodka. I guess that's a blog. Mommy's Bliss, Mommy's Little Sunshine, Mommy Page, Prego and Mommy Chat. So I'm not sure what a lot of this is, but um, it worked. Mother's Pride, Working Mother. I did some homeschooling. This didn't work as well, but that's another way to think of it. This is being a mom, being a soccer mom, love being a mom. So that should give you some ideas.
Cool. That sounds good. And then Jason had two questions. One question, I know the answer is it depends, but the other one
Yeah.
is an interesting kind of thing to dig into. So he said, for e-commerce, what is a good cost per purchase? And then he asked, in addition, my target is $30 per purchase, and I seem to start under that in the first week. Then when I scale by adding more budget, the target of 30% goes over. So he, when he kind of starts his campaign, it's working well, and then when he scales it and increases the budget, the CPA lifts. Is that normal?
Yeah, it's normal. I mean, honestly, it's just part of scale. Because well, when Facebook comes right out of the gate, they tend to find the most qualified audience based off of, what you're asking for in terms of objective and who you're targeting, right? And so, right out of the gate, Facebook tries to pick that low-hanging fruit, I think is a great way to put it. And as you feed Facebook more budget, if you aren't adding in new audiences and new copy and creative, then it's very natural for your CPA to rise because Facebook's having to cast a wider net to really generate those results that you were looking for. Does that make sense, Sean? So it's very
Yeah,
normal.
I think it does. So,
Totally.
I think that's just part of scale, and like you kind of have to accept that to reach more people, you're going to have to spend more money because, it's like those examples, right, where people are like, I got 20,000 ROI on my Facebook ad because they targeted 10 people and one person bought. It's like, okay, that's not scalable, repeatable, or actually useful. It's just sort of like, whoops, somebody bought right away. To get to scale,
Totally.
there's just a natural broadening out of who the audience is. And then
Absolutely.
one more question from
Yep.
Matt, who said, I saw Tom's YouTube training where he talked about the big picture ideas, but he go into the button clicking part of it. So do you have any ideas about a good uh, training or place to read about clicking the actual buttons to set up a YouTube ad? I don't know.
Yeah, I would just I'm sure YouTube has trainings that they keep up to date. Um, it looks like support Google create a video campaign. So I would honestly, I always use Facebook's um, documents for things like that because, like I said, they actually keep them up to date on the button clicking. So I would go right here to
Hmm.
YouTube help, and they've got your step by step. Click this, click this, click this. So that's what I would go with.
That's smart.
Okay.
I think,
So Alicia
people think
said,
there's some clever
oh,
hack,
sorry,
but it's
John.
really like,
I think
oh,
there's a
sorry.
little delay.
Oh, I was just saying that it's more about the strategy is what you should take away from Tom's video, and then it's impossible for any educators to keep up with the constant teeny little tweaks to the platform. So going to the source is always a better idea for button clicking specifics.
Totally. Alicia said, anyone else seeing a spike in costs over Memorial Day? Curious about how you handle big holidays. Do you let the campaign ride or kill them, then restart after the holidays are over? great question. This is very natural. It just happened over Mother's Day too. And there are a few ways to look at it. So if you're a retailer, you're B2C, and it makes sense for you to run a sale over that holiday, then I would definitely use the holiday to monetize your warm and hot audiences. If that doesn't make sense for you, so for example, during December at Digital Marketer, John, we used to turn pretty much all ads off because we knew that our audience of entrepreneurs and marketers were checking out to spend time with their family. They were worried about Best Buy's big sale that was happening, not us. There are a few ways. It really depends on your business and who you're serving. Another way to think about this, if you have evergreen campaigns running that are working, I always just bite the bullet and keep them running and spend more during a big holiday time, because I don't want to turn it off and then take the risk of trying to turn it back on after the holiday and it not perform like it had, right? And seeing a drop in results, that can be pretty sad. So it really depends on the business and the holiday, Alicia, but hopefully that gives you some best practices there. Okay, so please help. Client is a CrossFit gym in New Jersey. Campaign structure, initial targeting, video views, 1 male and 1 female motivational testimonials. Audience is major affluent towns around Cedar Grove, plus 5 miles, no audience targeting whatsoever. Retargeting and conversion, reach, targeting the following audience, video views. So I'm wondering what your actual call to action is here. We noticed you didn't grab your 1 week free. So it looks like you're trying to get them to do a week free. So what I would actually do here is, instead of running a video view first and then retargeting, I would just run an ad. You can use the customer testimonials that you mentioned, but I would just run an ad that's optimizing for, I guess a lead would be them getting the free week voucher. I'm not sure how you have it set up, but if the audience sizes are over 5,000, which it sounds like in this area they probably are, I would go ahead and optimize for what you're actually looking for, which is that free voucher. If that objective doesn't work, switch to traffic. But I think what I'm saying is, you definitely don't need to go the route of running a video first and then only retargeting 50% viewers. You're in a local market, you don't have to niche down that much. So I would just have a campaign built that's optimizing for that sign up using your testimonials. Make sure that your free week voucher is really prominent in the ad copy so that people know that they can get a free week. Most people know what CrossFit is. You don't really have to sell them on how awesome it is. You actually might need to sell them against some of the bad things that they've heard. Like, for example, my knees, I've had knee surgery, and my knees and ankles are really worn out. And so CrossFit has never seemed like a good option for me because it seems so high impact. That's just one barrier to entry for CrossFit. So what are the other barriers people might have to CrossFit? Everybody knows what it is. So, maybe speaking to that could be other ad copy ideas for you. But use that campaign going directly to this week voucher, and then you can run some retargeting campaigns of people that watch the video or visit the page but don't convert. So hopefully that helps. Alrighty, Patrick, this is kind of a question for everybody. Does anyone have any examples of SOPs for Facebook ads they can share that are based on what we've covered in TMTP? I'm looking to better document our procedures. If you have examples of how you use them via tools like Trello or Basecamp, or if you just have documents, I'd greatly appreciate them. So if you guys have something like that, go ahead and type Patrick into the group and help a buddy out. Alrighty. Liza, hi Molly John. I noticed on this Facebook page there is a send as message button below every comment. Would you guys or anyone know the setting for this? So I think this is actually something that Facebook's testing. I don't think there is a setting for this. I've seen this on a few accounts and I haven't touched anything. So I think that this is a setting that they're testing. Um, or I'm sorry, this is a feature. Just like, I don't know if you guys have seen on some ad accounts, there's like an upvote feature where you can like upvote a comment. I've seen that on ad accounts that are getting lots of comments, so it should be interesting to see what happens with that. Hi Jules, if you're here, big hugs to you. Paul went back and made changes based off of the last call. So that's awesome. Way to go, Paul. Hope you're doing well. Um, Liz said that she's seen Aiden's ads. So I will poke Lindsay to look at these, Aiden, too. All right, Jay. So we knew this one was coming. We couldn't find it earlier. So um, I have attached a traffic planning worksheet, which has been created with the Father's Day week webinar in mind. Here are the dates from your feedback from the last call. Webinar Facebook ads, Thursday, June 6th through the 13th, the webinar on the 13th, cart open the 13th through the 20th, retargeting the 14th through the 18th, and this here. I love this. The only thing missing, Jay, is June 14th through 20th. I would also run some retargeting ads alongside the replay, but in their own campaign that's a direct sales ad for your product. So that's going to reach people who might have visited the webinar page but didn't opt in, or people who even attended and watched, people who watched the webinar but didn't stay till the end when you made the pitch. So we just need to add in a direct sales ad here that runs June 14th through the 20th also. After reviewing the traffic sheet, are there any suggestions on how to improve this plan? Since it's my first webinar, I'm unsure if I've captured all of this. Awesome. So let's check this out. I'm excited for you, Jay. Can't wait to see how this does. Okay, so you've got lead magnet number 1, scored quiz showing father's level of financial preparedness. So this looks like maybe the wrong traffic sheet, Jay. Okay, or you do have the webinar here. So Jay, go back to module 1. I showed the traffic system planning sheet for the webinar Ezra and I did. Just go copy that exactly, because you don't need the quiz and any other lead magnet or anything like that in here. You can go top of funnel direct to webinar and run a campaign. Like, let me show you how we did this for our last webinar. So your other lead magnets do not need to be involved in this in any way. So you just want to create, okay, so you can see here, okay, so you've got, this was the webinar we did. So we've got one campaign that's going to cold audiences and one that's warm. So cold, we've got 3 ad sets in here with different interests and lookalikes. And then the other is warm, and we split it out to Facebook fans, site visitors, and subscribers. I would put all of your warm audiences in one ad set for that campaign. So that's the first step of your traffic system planning sheet, is just webinar ads to cold and warm traffic to generate the lead. Then you'll have the replay ads here. Then you'll have your direct sales ads here. Then we did a Facebook Live that we retargeted people in this step. You can do that too. And then we had our scarcity ads in step 5. So you can simplify this a lot. Minimum budget for the week is 3,000 with a max of 5. Okay, great. So if you're going to do 3, I would dedicate about $2,200 of your budget just to generate the leads, and the other 800 for your retargeting after the fact, because you just won't need that much. For Russ's launch, we did a $5,000 budget. 3,000 was spent to generate the leads, and the other 2,000 was spent on retargeting. So I'm pretty sure John, there's a call in Train My Traffic Person about Russ and I setting those up. I remember recording that. I can't remember exactly where it is, Jay, but definitely watch that. But otherwise, this looks awesome. I think this is going to do great. Just make sure you spend a lot of time practicing and strategizing around the webinar content and the pitch from your content to what you're actually selling, because all of this marketing can be great and you can generate all these leads, but if that transition fails, it might be hard for you to make the sale. So make sure you spend a lot of time on that, but otherwise it looks like you're good to go. I'm really excited for you. Alrighty, we got some more questions coming through here. A good ad copywriter. I just recommended Neil here. Neil's awesome. He also writes sales pages or any other copy that you guys might be looking for. All right. So Florencia is looking for a mastermind coach. We're looking for a mastermind coach to take our business to the next level. We're an online business school for female entrepreneurs who are looking to grow their business. We've worked with a few coaches who have been amazing, but now we feel some new blood in the game. You know, what are you specifically? So I want to know exactly what she's looking for, but 2 great coaches that come to mind. One is Sonia Keenan. You can reach out to her on, this is her business here, Omnichannel Media Group. She's in Australia. Another great business coach is James Schramko. He's my business coach. So James is awesome. I'm going to paste both of these in here for her. But if you tell me exactly what you're looking for too, I can probably point you more in the right direction. Yeah, this is Yed's talking about his ads not doing well over the weekend, totally Memorial Day. I'm gonna sneeze here in a second. Woo, okay. So we talked about this last week. There's more conversation going on there. Looks like Richard got help talking about analytics people here. Aiden, okay, cool. We just went over that today. Sean's got a cool scaling trick there. Love it. Liza mentioned we put together a document with samples of great Facebook ads. So all of those are going to be in Team Traffic when you get access to those. So we've got like 4 in there now, which is awesome. Okay, cool. So excited for you there, Jay. Gonna circle back to some of Sean's questions here. Anything coming in, John?
Sorry, my mic was being weird, but no, nobody has asked any more questions. So you've struck everyone silent with your wisdom. So good to keep cranking through the group. But
all right,
I think that's most.
Let me focus on this one. Okay, consider this as a note to self and for anyone else it might benefit. I asked a question that Molly answered on the 520 bonus call, and below is the question. Question, should we be careful about comparing our info product business to an e-com business? Should we be running pre-sale articles like Ezra does? I said careful to compare info products. Okay, Okay, so it looks like this is my answer. Um, okay, I'm getting a bit mixed on how this will all play into retargeting. So here are a few knots I'd love your help untangling. Um, okay. Let's say I've got 5 pre-sale articles all referencing the same product, and imagine these articles were each getting 1,000 to 10,000 clicks per day. When retargeting the article visitors, should I have separate retargeting campaigns for each article, and should I have unique retargeting ads for each? Example, pre-sale article 1, 10 things successful manifestors do. Pre-sale article 2, 7 signs the universe is in process, both referencing our $9 tripwire called the Ancient Manifesting. So you don't have to have separate retargeting for this, Sean. That's a great question because the next step is all about that tripwire. So just make the ads about the offer that you're making. You definitely don't have to have separate retargeting experiences for each of these. Um, yeah, I don't think you have to do that. I think you can do it all a catch-all. Absolutely. Lead magnet versus pre-sale. You said not to test one against the other, but should I run both of these campaigns to cold audience or should I run the pre-sale article to cold and then in addition to retargeting those visitors to my tripwire? Okay, so I would run your lead magnet to cold traffic. I would use your pre-sale as something you can use to retarget people who visit your tripwire or people who visit your lead magnet and don't buy the tripwire. And yeah, so I would actually do it in the other way around. So for info businesses, I think that pre-sales, if you're comparing lead magnet to pre-sale, I would much rather use the lead magnet to cold traffic because I'm generating that lead, which is much stronger than just a website visitor to the pre-sale article because I'm getting the website visitor anyways with the lead magnet. So I would lead with the lead magnet and use the pre-sale more for retargeting, if that makes sense. So for this whole scenario, you were talking about running both of these to cold traffic. I think you're, I think you're sort of complicating this a little bit. Like I would just get the lead magnet working first. You can try a pre-sale article for retargeting, see if that helps overcome any barriers to purchase. Once you've got that traffic system working, if you want to test pre-sale articles to cold traffic, awesome. Test them to cold traffic, and then do the opposite, right? Retarget the people who, click through the pre-sale but don't buy with the lead magnet and see if you can get them to buy through that traffic system. But I wouldn't complicate this. I mean, Ezra's spending a couple $100,000 a month on Facebook right now just through one pre-sale article, right? All the cold traffic's going through one pre-sale article, minus about 10% of cold traffic that's going to top line DPAs. So I wouldn't overcomplicate this, Sean. I would try to just get one traffic system working first. It would be my biggest recommendation. Um, do you ever survey your list to acquire most of the customer avatar information? Um, so we have a pretty massive list. So I imagine we could get some pretty solid avatars. What would stump me though is the exact question to ask so it's objective and not leading them, but in a way that also makes the data manageable. So something else you could do, Sean, is go into Google Analytics. I think it's under Audience tab. Google will tell you different interests of people who have visited your website. Since you guys have such high such high traffic, you would have a ton of data in Google Analytics. So that could be a good way to get this information without asking. But I think you just need to ask questions like send out a survey, like I talked about earlier in the call, incentivizing them, maybe your highest lifetime value customers. For Panda Planner, we even got them on a call just to ask questions. But if you don't want to go that far, sort of ask like, what was life like before Sarah Prout? What's it like after? Ask what, if you want to know their interests and their hobbies, ask what a normal Saturday looks like for them, right? So just ask some specific questions, like 4 to 5 questions that you know that the answer will lead to the information that you're looking for without asking what their interests and hobbies are, right? And I think that Ryan Levesque method is really good too. This book would be great to read there, Sean. Um, okay, so we've got his first customer avatar here. My thoughts and questions, should we be thinking of each product subscription we have and create 2 to 4 products around each product? It depends on if you're a product or market-centric business based off of the targeting um, module, so you would have to let me know that. Should we think more broadly? Yeah, I would definitely think more broadly. Um, Especially for your business, I would probably think more broadly. If you do this for every product, it's going to be kind of difficult. So we've got Daisy the Dreamer that Sean's been working on, knows there must be more to life, is determined to manifest her goals, dreams, wishes, and desires. She just doesn't know yet. Um, awesome. It looks like you really know this person. Yeah, this is definitely similar to Gabby Bernstein's avatars. Sean, like I think you're on point here. Daisy throughout the years, I love that. Um, I bet some of these are interest. Cool. Yeah, this seems absolutely on the right path, Sean. And maybe for you guys, you have 2 to 3 avatars in the business. Maybe you have Daisy the Dreamer. Maybe you have more of the seasoned spiritual um, person, right? And maybe you have like a newbie who's just going through stress and anxiety and doesn't realize that there is a solution out there and might be even anti this type of stuff, right? But for some reason, we're going to be able um, to open their eyes. You know, if you feel like that's someone that you guys can handle. You said on the avatar question and answer, someone named Julie asked about how to handle people coming to the business for different reasons. You said that when the messaging changes, you need to have separate avatars and different campaigns. So here's a follow-up on that. I'm thinking of my business at scale and the interests start to be very broad. It sounded to me like my campaigns for different avatars may not even have different interests in the ad sets, just a different message. So we've got Daisy the Dreamer who feels there has to be more to life than this. And there are different versions of Daisy the Dreamer as she progresses in life. There are also versions of Daisy who are unaware, new, been around for a while. Yeah, I think your avatars, Sean, are more of their progression in the spirituality world. And I think that more so is a targeting thing, actually. Like, for example, you probably wouldn't like A Course in Miracles, which is a really dense, amazing text about spirituality if you are unaware of spirituality, right? Like, those are your hardcore people that are really into this stuff. So I think your avatars are more of like a little journey of how someone finds spirituality, right? And the different stages. I think there are 3 stages, someone who's completely unaware, like you said, someone who's new, and then someone who's more experienced. And I think the interest will change a lot depending on who that person is. Like, for example, I think the person who's unaware, that person is more, you're targeting interests around stress and anxiety management and maybe different therapies. They're really in the pain mode. For new, you might find them through like Gabby Bernstein or Brene Brown, like kind of that more entry to that world people, right? And then the people that are in it, you're targeting like tarot cards and A Course in Miracles and your really deep spiritual stuff. So I hope that helps. That's really how I see that. And Sean said, we're going to create some planners, journals, and card decks and build a new ecom biz. Exciting. Woo! Any tips? Is it paper products and journals a profitable space to be in? Any other products you recommend for me? Any challenges to be aware of? So great question. I do have some insight on this from my experience with Gabby. Since you guys do have such a following, anything physical would be good, like T-shirts, tarot cards, obviously journals. Like look at what Rachel Hollis and Brendan Bouchard are doing. I would honestly go mimic those people, go mimic what Gabby's doing. But it needs to be an extension of your brand, right? Like I think for you guys, these aren't products that someone would necessarily purchase if they didn't know Sarah and they didn't know your brand. Same thing with Gabby. But these can be very, very profitable, especially if you source them on your own, and you don't go through your publisher, which is a conversation we can have for another time. But I think this is awesome, and thank you guys for sending me this book in the mail. I'm traveling with it, and it's really helpful. Everybody should go check out Sean and Sarah's brands if you're looking for some more info around this stuff. John, anything else coming up? Is Sean on here? Any further questions? I think we got all the
I
questions
have not
answered.
seen any questions from Sean, so I
Cool.
don't think he is on this call. I've got two questions for you, and then there were two I noticed in the group that you didn't get to, so I'll ask those
Cool.
two. But first, Aiden said, last question, I probably promise. I thought relevance scores, CTR and CPC were good metrics for our audience. My numbers for cost per click and click-through rate were pretty good for the ads I've been running. But like we talked about, I wasn't getting purchases. Can Molly speak to this? Was this because I was driving traffic to the pre-sales, or were the audience is bad despite good cost per click and click-through rate?
Yeah, I think the pre-sale's just adding an extra step here that's decreasing your purchases. And yeah, I just think it's very wise of you to go direct to sales page and optimize for purchase, at least until you reach a point of scale that you can't scale any longer, Aiden. Because I want you to get that figured out first before we move to the pre-sale stuff. And
Cool.
also,
And then,
when
oh, sorry.
optimizing for purchase, we're just going to reach people who are more likely to buy stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. Awesome. And then Samantha, who was with us at TMTP Live, she said,
Sam.
I'm wondering where I can get a copy of the Google Sheet that was shown earlier to keep track of targeting and avatar research. I'm pretty sure that was maybe Jay or Aiden's. And I think they just made that themselves, but that may be not a bad thing for us to put together. But I don't know, Molly, was there a digital resource for that?
No, I think that was Alex King,
Oh,
who created that document. So Alex, if you're here, or John, we could hit him up in the group. If you're willing for other people to be able to use that Excel sheet, it is beautiful and wonderful, and we would appreciate it.
cool. I just made a
John,
note.
two more came in here. John's looking for help with his Pixel. Need to make sure it's set up correctly. Can someone please help? Um, so John, we might need some more information, but John Grimshaw here, I think this is more of a you thing. Um,
Yeah,
Jay said,
post a link to your
oh,
website,
sorry,
John, and I'll take a look.
yeah. Um, Post a link to your site here, please. Um, so, oh, this is what Jay incorrectly posts. Thought I'd let you know the following. We have 50 audiences between 500,000 and 3 million. Dang. For the Father's Day webinar, should I run CBO or at the ad set level? How many ad sets and ads would you recommend? Okay, so for this, I would recommend only 2 ads because it's such a short time frame. I would also recommend actually budgets at the ad set level, and it depends on your budget, Jay. Like your, oh, well, you already told me your overall budget. So say you were willing to spend $2,500 across 7 days. So that's $357 a day. I would say that you're going to pay probably about $5 per lead, $5 to $10 per lead, I would say, on this. So we can expect, let's do $7, about 51 signups a day, which is exciting. So what I would do if I were you, 357 divided by 10. So I would set up 10 ad sets, budget at the ad set level. Actually, I take that back. Because we are in such a short time frame, I would actually use CBOJ. I would set it at $350 a day, and I would only have 5 ad sets. And I would make sure these ad sets are between 10 and 20 million, and just pick your favorite interests that you just know your audience is hanging out on. So you're going to squish some of these together, right? Because you had them split into 500,000 to 3 million. So I would actually go CBO 350 a day, 5 ad sets, right? Between about 10 and 20 million a piece, and 2 ad sets in, or I'm sorry, 2 ads in each ad set so that you can build that social proof as quickly as possible. Keep us updated on how that goes. I'm excited. Cool. Anything else coming in, John?
Yeah, a couple things. So, Christina was wondering, will team traffic be similar to Train My Traffic Person? So I think it would be nice if you would just give a 30-second, 1-minute spiel about what team traffic is like.
Yeah. So team traffic is very different, where Train My Traffic Person is an experience over 4 months. Team traffic is a monthly membership. And the goal is, there are lots of media buyers like you guys who need their stuff critiqued and need to be able to ask questions. And so that group is really built for that. We also do a training week on different topics. Like, for example, we've got one on agencies next week, like how to work with agencies and how to be a paid traffic agency. We just did one on ad copy. We're doing a critique call tomorrow, very similar to this, where I'm just critiquing a bunch of stuff. So team, you also get an AdSumer report every month, which is a swipe file. You get a news of a ton of ads. You get a newsletter every month that has like sort of my thoughts for the month, education for the month, changes to Facebook, Google, and YouTube for the month. You get watch me work videos where Boris and I record everything going on in Boom's accounts and my client accounts for the month. So there's lots of content, but also access. So the difference is it's not an A to Z thing. It's not a course. It's a membership. It's like a virtual mastermind for media buyers. So you guys get a free month of it. And then after that, if you want to continue, it's $397 a month. But yeah, people are really enjoying it. So these two, like Train My Traffic Person and Team Traffic, work well together because, after Train My Traffic Person, you can stay in Team Traffic to continue to have, this access.
Yeah, and someone
Is
was
that
asking
good,
me
John?
earlier in chat about CBO. Um, and I was saying like, man, CBO has been changing like every other week basically. And so team traffic is better than TMTP in the sense that it's not like you get one training on it and that's like the resource, right? It's more like, hey, this week here's a new thing we learned about CBO, and hey, here's something I saw like that I think you should be looking out for. So it's well suited for people that are past the sort of ramp up stage because it is way more focused on what's new, evaluating those tools, and trying to keep the pulse on sort of what's going on with Facebook and other ad platforms as they change and grow.
Bam. All right. Any other questions,
I
John?
also, yeah, so I know we're like right over, so let's just do these real quick. Someone just said, has anyone been using the split testing feature with Ads Manager? Have you
Mm,
tried that out or know
yeah,
anyone that has tried that?
I've tried it a lot.
Thoughts?
I don't love it for a few reasons. It's why I don't teach you guys to use it. But I know that Facebook is in the process of making it better. So I'll be testing it again next month when they roll out some updates.
Um, cool. And then the last one was from Sean, who I guess was on the call. He said, ouch, much for my finger. He said, I love your answer about e-commerce
SPS.
products. Is it reasonable to go into this new Dear Universe brand in two stages? First one to sell to those who know Sarah. Second stage to build Dear Universe as a brand.
Absolutely.
Or
I
just
think
all
you're
at
dead
once.
on. No, I would do the
Okay, cool.
stages because, for example, I know John, this is something we've talked to Gabby a lot about. Like, she doesn't really want to sell physical products to acquire new customers. Her store is just built to monetize people that are familiar with her. I think that's number one best step. But do have step two in mind. Um, as you're building the store, if you do want to attract outside people, you just have to think of, I mean, maybe that's even more of an Amazon play, which I don't know if you want to get into that. But that's, something to think about in terms of, I mean, you don't really acquire new customers because you don't get the contact information, but that could be another channel for you guys too. So anyways, yes, I would definitely think of it like that. Step one, launch store to further monetize audience that we have. Step two, make this relevant to cold audiences.
Cool. All right, so you have gone through and answered everything. So very impressive, Molly. Does it
Woo!
feel good to be back in here chatting? We did it live last week, and so it's kind of fun to get back on
Yeah,
the horn where you're sort of jumping in and out of the online.
I know I don't have to worry about what my face is doing because you guys can't see me in person. That's a concern. Yeah,
Oh man.
it's
Cool.
great
Okay,
to be back.
so you guys.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, sorry. We were perfect at the beginning of the call, with the delay of like 3 seconds is back. But anyway, what I was gonna say was just, um, I will send out an email tomorrow with more details on the testimonial stuff, so you guys can get
Woo!
involved with that. And then we'll make sure that we send out the invitation for next Monday's call. It'll probably go out Friday morning, so you guys kind of keep an eye on your inbox for that.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. We will talk soon. And I will be also, John, putting a post in the group in the next day about what your number one block is, just so that we can build up those questions for next Monday. Last call.
Cool.
There might be tears. All right, everybody. Thanks for showing up. Have a great day, and we will talk soon. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye, y'all.